Hey everybody, just want to welcome you to this week's episode. So I started out this episode with a question. Yeah, this is an Equinox. It's an Equinox 800. Thanks especially to my friend Birdman for loaning this to me indefinitely so that I can get used to it and put it through its paces. So my question was this: is multi-frequency really better? I don't hear anybody asking these questions, and so I'm going to ask it. So I have the Equinox. I've logged a good many hours on it already. I'm going to log a bunch more hours on it, and if I get some definitive results, I will post them. But this is the first video about this, and I'm not going to turn my channel into a whole series of stupid detector ratings. This is not about detector rankings. So you all can say, well, yeah, you didn't use a Deus, yeah, you didn't use a Manicore, whatever the heck. But here's the thing. Here's the ultimate part of it. Everybody says your old single frequency machine is vastly inferior to all these multi-frequency machines. And so I said, well, I'm going to do the test and I'm going to figure it out myself. So basically what I did was I used the exact same two machines, same ground, same user, everything. So I went through the same exact ground, first with one machine, then with the other machine, and then I swapped it up and did first with the second machine, then with the first machine, because I was like, what can one hear that the other one can't? Okay, digging every iffy signal, and then of course several times that I've been out, because I've always had both machines there, I've tweaked and changed programs with both to see, and every signal that I got, I wanted to see if it could be heard on the other machine. Okay, so that was my test. With that said, watch this. Hey everybody, and good morning. It's early morning. It's just a little past dawn. It is already 83 degrees, and the sun isn't even hardly up. At any rate, people are always saying to me, hey, you're missing stuff, you got that single frequency machine, you're missing stuff. Well, I decided to settle this. The F75 has been good to me for years. As you can see, it's 10-foot tall sugarcane. I'm not going to get in that today. As you see here, right there is an Equinox. That's an Equinox 800, and it's on loan from a friend of mine. And I've logged a good many hours on it, hunting some yards, and feel pretty confident with it. So yeah, if the Minelab finds more than the F75, then I will run the experiment in reverse, where I will take because we have these nice rows. It's like a grid system here, and you can tell exactly that you've been over the same ground. It's not like, it's a hunted out spot and all of a sudden, guess what? I happen to walk over an inch of ground that I hadn't hit before and find a coin. That's BS. But here we actually have a grid system in Louisiana because of these, in South Louisiana, because all these berms that the sugar cane's planted on to keep the root systems from rotting. So basically, if the Equinox finds more than F75, if it finds things that F75 missed on this row down and back, then I will run it in reverse, and I will take the Equinox down a row that has targets, fresh row, never been dug, and then once I've done that, then I will take the F75 back through and see if it gets anything that the Equinox misses. And yeah, so there you go. That's the test. All right. Let's get to work. Hey everybody, so I have my first signal here. This not very deep. It's probably hiding in the iron, and that is a button back. So that's a good start. That speaks well for the Equinox so far. I'm happy to have that. All right, let's keep digging. Second target is this aluminum button. And I think I may walk back to the vehicle and get the F75 and see if it could even hear, the next good target that I get. I have some issues sometimes with that machine in heavy iron, not being able to hear things, even things that are on top of the ground sometimes. because of the target separation issues, but the small coil helps with that, of course. At any rate, it's about 20 minutes. I had 2 targets, so when I get the next target that's good on the Equinox, I'm going to go get the F75 and see if I can hear it. So that'll be interesting. All right, back at it. Okay, here's a signal that I'm getting on the Nox. It's reading fairly steady at 17, 18, 19, somewhere around in there. I'm gonna get the F75 and see if it'll pick it up. Hey everybody, so sure enough, I do get a mid-range tone on the F75, and that is a tone that I would dig. A bouncy mid-range signal like that in an old site 60s. So yeah, so basically some of this is that it's washed. As you can see, there's a ditch here, and that stuff in the bottom of the ditch is all washed from up here. We've had a month of rain since I've been here, so yeah, I think that's part of it. I'm not going to write it off yet, but I'm going to compare signals side by side to make sure that I can get the signals I'm getting on the Equinox on the F75. If there's signals I can't get, then that is significant. All right, so I'm going to keep doing side-by-side comparison here. Keep digging. Okay, and so that signal right there was a pack rivet, a leather rivet and burr. Those are good signals, and you know, they sound like half dimes. So I was able to get that with both machines. All right, keep digging. Hey everybody. Here is a 1617 signal on the Nox. Very strong signal. I would imagine that's that hits on the F75 too, but we are going to check that out. You know, I wish people would do more of these head-to-head comparisons over the same targets and the same ground. Everybody's like air test, which we all know is horse crap, because in real world conditions, you know, who hunts in sites that don't have a single iron nail or a piece of trash, right? And then we have these people that bury test gardens, you know, with a couple of specially placed nails. But you know, if I know that a target's right there in my test garden, then I'm going to sweep over that a certain way to try to get that target. But when I'm out hunting, I'm not sweeping every little square inch of ground like I know that there's a target there. So the question of repeatability is like, can it peg a quarter at 18 inches? Yeah, but it sounds like garbage. You're never going to dig it in real life. So, you know, just a little shout out about that. So I think people need to just strap 2 machines to their back and go out and offer some real world comparisons more often. I don't like to do this type of thing, but I don't mind saying if I'm wrong. You know, I am out to get to have the best hobby that I can, to find the most stuff that I can, and that's all I'm in it for. It's not about brands. It's not about loyalty. I've been a Fisher user for 30-something years. I'm 32 years now. So if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. All right, here's that nice 15, 16 signal or so on the Nox. Yep, nice strong 16, 15, 16, 17. I'm going to bring the F75 over here and see what it hears. Yep, I can tell that a lot of this is because it's washed. I think what I need to do is hit a, because this is also hitting here. It's reading like a bouncy 24, 32, every direction, every speed of sweep, 26. So that's definitely a diggable signal in here. I think what I need to do is hit an area with one machine and then come back and hit it with the other. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run up through here, maybe 10 feet or so with the F75, and go back through the same 10 feet with the Nox after I dig up this signal. And that signal was a piece of aluminum junk. All right, keep digging. All right, so I have done a fair distance up through here with the F75. You can see it up there in the distance, right there. You can see it leaning up on some sugar cane. F75. So I've hunted all that distance with that. I did find targets. See, what I realized with those first couple targets on the Equinox is that it had washed enough here that more stuff had washed out. So I did find some targets here. Also eyeballed a caster, which I would have picked up before. That just shows that it's washed. And so now I'm going to do the same with Equinox and see if the F75 missed anything. I feel like that's a better real world test. Since there were still targets here that were hearable. So I made sure that there weren't. All right, let's see what this does. All right, so I hunted those I don't know, 10 car lengths or so with the Equinox. I dug every little iffy signal. I got this. That's the end of a lead-headed nail or something. Probably sounded really crappy on the F75 because it was mixed composition. That was the only target. So results inconclusive so far. I'm gonna hunt on up here with the Equinox first. I'm gonna trail behind then and redo with the F75 and see what happens. All right, keep digging. All right, so I did a long section. I got just 2 targets. Dug every iffy thing with the Equinox. Found another one of those little wheels, casters. You can see the Equinox way up there, sitting down. And now I'm gonna hit everything with F75. Some of you may be like, well, why are you using the baby coil in F75? Well, I keep hearing about the Equinox and all these multi-frequency machines that, you know, the thing that separates them is the target separation. Well, I get the best target separation with that little bitty coil because I'm less likely to get a trash target or an iron nail and a good target under the same coil, yada, yada. So the way I see it is, you know, the depth will suffer probably by about an inch or so, but compared to the stock coil. But I get good target separation. I give the F75 its best chance to succeed, and I do a lot of hunting with that little coil in iron-infested sites anyhow. So, all right, let's see what we find. Okay, so the results of that with the F75, digging again every iffy signal. Because, I mean, here's the thing. If you want the top performance of your machine, you're not digging iffy signals, then what are you doing? Like, what did you pay for? If you're just digging the banger signals or the good signals, then why would you spend that much money on anything? You know, why not just buy a, you know, entry-level detector and dig all the banger signals? At any rate, so there was 2 little lead-headed nails that the Equinox missed that the F75 got. And then, of course, I looked over here on the other side and in the ditch and eyeballed a marble because I happened to look over. At any rate, so that's not really a lot of conclusive proof here so far. And again, I'm going to spend some time. I'm going to keep this Equinox here for a couple months and do this exact type of thing. Again, it's not conclusive proof, but what I do think, and this is my preliminary judgments here after spending a couple hours this morning, 2.5 or 3 hours, going over the exact same ground with both machines, getting targets with both machines, seeing if the other machine could hear it. Every target that I've had, both machines could hear. And that tells me that it's just a matter of sweep speed on getting a little thing here and there, like a lead-headed nail, sweep speed and maybe sweep direction. But again, I'm hitting the same direction, hitting this way and hunting with both machines in the same direction. Same user, same ground. So I figure, you know, what I was interested in seeing was if the Equinox was going to blow the F75 away. Everybody says, you know, it's going to blow it out of the water and, you know, I'll come down to your sites and teach you a thing or two and stuff like that. But so far, I haven't seen it. I haven't seen any, you know, appreciable difference in this detector, even though it's you know 15 years newer than the other one. So that's just my hot take right now. I know I'll get all these trash comments to this video, but you know what? Again, I'm doing this for my own edification, not for yours. But I am sharing my results with you. So be kind. All right, see ya. Hey everybody, in wrap up here, here's some things that the Equinox found. Here's some things that both machines picked up, and also some non-ferrous, non-metallic finds, eyeball finds. Here's some things that the F75 dug. That's a nice deep piece of brass there. So there were still targets there. It was just kind of thin. I knew it would be thin. But again, I don't see too much of an appreciable difference so far. So I'm going to keep using both machines. I'm going over the same ground. I may do subsequent videos if I find any difference. So I'll keep checking back in with you. Hey everybody, this is another day of trying out the Equinox here. I'm gonna do a row here on this field, and it's looking pretty good. It's all washed down. I'm gonna do a row. It'll probably take me an hour. I'm gonna go back and do it with F75. And I'm gonna do a row with F75. Probably take me an hour. These are long rows, and I'll go back and do it with Equinox. At any rate, the settings I'm running are Park 2. I've got sensitivity set at 21, recovery 6, iron bias is 2, and of course I'm accepting anything that's above iron in an old site like this. Anyhow, yeah, mild soil, so we'll see how it goes. It is hot this morning. It's just past dawn, and it's, God, 83, 82 degrees or so. Oh, it's like being in an oven already. I hope Mr. Sun doesn't come out to play. All right, get digging. Okay, this is the first target that today that the Minelab could hear, but the F75 couldn't, and it's an iron pintle. I've been chasing a little bit of junk with the Minelab, but I'd rather dig and chase a little iron and hope to get a little deeper and put the machine to its test than to just say I'm not going to chase any iron. I'm used to digging some iron with the F75 anyhow, because fishers have always loved iron a little bit, so it's not a problem. Anyhow, keep digging. Well, here's a little piece of lead and a little piece of brass that the F75 missed on its rows, on the same rows here, and the Equinox got. So now it's time to go through with the Equinox and see if the F75 can scare anything up. All right, I'll be back. Well, I'm going to go back through what I just did, the row I just did with the Equinox. Oh God, it's hot. It's probably 93, 94. And it feels like it's probably 112. If I had to guess, 113. Whew. Again, I'm not doing this to prove that one detector is better than another detector. What I'm interested in is my own edification. I want to see if they're comparable, or if one is clearly going to find more targets than the other one, because it's not about finding one good thing. Everybody gets over one good thing and they're like, oh, look, my detector's amazing, and everybody else's detector's trash. I'm just sick of it. So I figured I would borrow one of these and put in the hours. I'm up to like 50 something hours on this machine, and I'm going to keep going. I want to get to 100 hours logged on it by itself. And so I just had a couple of signals that this machine would get, but the Fisher wouldn't. I had put the stock coil on the Fisher just to see if the stock coil made a difference, and it did not. But those two signals were both iron signals. So I have been chasing probably more iron than I should with this machine. But again, I don't want to take any chances. I want to run it hot. I want to open it up fully and see at its peak, if it is in the ballpark with my old F75. So far, it seems like they're kind of neck and neck. A couple of little targets here and there difference. If I get something big that's missed, then I will definitely, that will be a wake-up call. It hasn't happened yet. All right, keep digging. And I've got a little bit of brass here that the Equinox missed. It's not big, but it's kind of thick. Anyhow, all right, keep going. And another thing missed by the Equinox, but of course, again, I'm digging every iffy signal, because I want to really put these machines to their test. This site is probably not going to have a lot of great finds. I'm not likely to hear a big singing coin signal, a big pinball signal on the Equinox. And again, people in these comments are probably going to say, oh, well, it's not a Manticore, it's not a Deus 2, whatever the heck, My buddy has a Deus, and him and I, are a little, pretty much equal on finds. A lot of times I'm a little ahead, or sometimes he's a little ahead. But I've not seen any appreciable difference in his finds versus my finds when we hunt together. So multi-frequency, any better than a single frequency. That's what I'm, you know, how much better is it? Is it appreciable? Anyhow, well, it's getting hot. Yeah, sorry for the boring footage. Nothing really great was found, but you know, I'm only covering half the ground and in much less time because I'm going super slow. Getting to know the new machine, and so the other thing is it's only been a half day today, and it's a hard hit site. I wanted to try out the Equinox on it, but at any rate, I think I'm gonna go eyeball a little bit, maybe get a little food, hang out. Well, before lunch, here's what we've got today. A whole bunch of junk. Aluminum. I tried to dig in some areas I thought might have some more targets. They were kind of full of trash, and that's fine. Some brand new cans that the farmers have tossed off their tractors for me, but all right, I'm headed to lunch. Okay, folks, so in the wrap up, all I have to say is that there's not a conclusive winner. There's a couple of things here and there. I think different detector models and different detector brands are going to pick up a couple of things that the other one misses. You know, but that said, I do not see at this point, with 50 hours on this machine and you know thousands of hours on the F75, I do not see any appreciable difference between multi-frequency and single frequency. And we're talking about iron-infested sites in the Deep South. Now, I'm sure that multi-frequency is a winner at the beach. So I will say that, because this machine runs on the beach. This machine fries itself out. It goes nuts. It is like the Tasmanian devil at the beach. So single frequency VLF is not going to work in wet sand. So I'll say that. This one's also waterproof, which is nice. You know, in the beach, and I would imagine also, because that's mineralization, right? That's an ionic situation there with the salt. So I would also imagine that in hot ground, a multi-frequency would behave better. So my preliminary results are that in mild soil, even in iron-infested sites, I do not sense a reactivity issue. Part of it is that I dig every iffy signal with the F75, and I've always done that with the F75. I probably dig signals that some users wouldn't dig. However, I will say that the target response on the Equinox is more certain and less iffy for some of those signals. They're all signals I would have dug here, but they sounded a little better there. So this machine requires a good bit of patience to master. But of course, I've been at this hobby a very long time, and you know, over 30 years, and I've used, you know, borrowed and used various detectors, including compass machines and some really old, outdated things. But I will say that the learning curve is probably going to be a little less on the Minelab because the target response seems to be more certain. So I will say that in the Minelab's favor. But overall, once again, and I know I'm going to get a bunch of ridiculous responses to this footage. I will block and ban you. Don't even try. From my tests so far, 50 hours, double hunting, messing up my whole summer of hunting because I'm hunting half as much ground as I would, and I'm going super slow to make sure I'm getting every signal that I can on both. Yeah, no appreciable difference between a multi-frequency and a single frequency detector. So that's my story. I'm sticking to it. Don't buy all the hype that the detector companies tell you. Have a good day.